Here we go.
Dad, I know I don't talk to you much, but there's something I wanted to ask you. Do girls have cooties? I heard Billy say that girls have cooties and I wanted to know if it's true. Also, do girls have different parts than boys? I saw a diagram in health class, but it didn't really make sense to me. And finally, why do people say that girls are icky? I don't think they are. I think they're kind of pretty actually. Dad, can you answer these questions for me? I promise I'll listen this time. They walk to the park in silence. Once they sit down on the bench, James looks at his son and gives a heavy sigh. Matthew, your mother would have been better equipped to answer these questions than I am, but I'll do my best. Yes, girls have cooties. It's a made-up thing to keep boys and girls from playing together too much. And yes, girls have different parts than boys. They're designed that way so that they can have children when they grow up. Dad, I still don't understand, said Matthew with a frustrated face. Matthew, I'm sorry to say this, but you're not going to learn anything about girls from me until you get your grades up. You're barely passing your classes as it is, and I won't have you get any lower grades just because you're curious about girls. I know it's hard to concentrate in school when you're thinking about girls all the time, but you need to try. If you can get your grades up, then we can talk about girls more. But until then, I don't want to hear any more about it. Do you understand? Maria, who is out walking her dog, sees Matthew and James from a distance. She can tell that Matthew is frustrated with his father, and she can't help but to feel a little bit sorry for the boy. She walks over to them and clears her throat to get their attention. Excuse me, but I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. It seems to me like you're having some problems with communication. James looks at Maria, a little taken aback by her forwardness. It's none of your business, he says, a little too harshly. Maria shrugs her shoulders and gives Matthew a sympathetic smile before walking away. Matthew gets up from the bench and runs over to the playground. James watches him go, and he can't help but to feel a little bit guilty. He knows he's not been the best father to Matthew, but he doesn't know how to fix it. He pulls a notepad out of his pocket and starts to write down some thoughts. What does it mean to be a father? He writes. Is it just about providing for your child? Or is there more to it than that? He looks up at Matthew, who is playing on the swings, and he wonders if he'll ever really understand what it means to be a father. James looks around the park and notices several things the fathers in the park are doing with their sons. He sees one father playing catch with his son, and he can't help but to feel a little bit envious. He remembers playing catch with his own father when he was a boy, and he can't help but to feel a sense of sadness. He looks away and sees another father pushing his son on the swings. He remembers pushing Matthew on the swings when he was younger, and he can't help but to feel a sense of regret. He looks down at his hands and wonders if he'll ever really be able to fix his relationship with Matthew. Fatherhood is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. It's not easy, but it's worth it. I just hope I can figure out how to be the father Matthew needs. James continues to look around the park, and he can't help but to think about his late wife. She was the one who was always good with Matthew, and he can't help but to feel a sense of guilt. He knows he can't replace her, but he doesn't know how to fill the void she left. He looks over at Matthew and wonders if he'll ever really be able to connect with him again. Suddenly, he sees Maria at the swings with Matthew. James starts to walk over to the swings, but he sees Maria talking with Matthew. He can't help but to feel a sense of jealousy, and he wonders what she could possibly be saying to his son. Suddenly, he sees Matthew get up from the swing and walk towards Maria's car. He can't believe it as he watches his son get into the car willingly. He starts to run towards them, but it's too late. James can only watch in horror as Maria drives away with his son. He feels like he's lost everything, and he can't help but to feel a sense of despair.